Make your mark. Is this episode 1 or is it a special? Who cares? Anyway, I took my time with this, really thinking and pondering, listening to what others have to say, mulling it over, and, well, I don't want to harp on about it, but I just gotta say something, so best get it over with. The animation. It's a bit repugnant. I sincerely never thought I'd say this, but quite honestly, I think I like the CalArt stuff better. I think most everyone will agree with me when I say that nothing will top G4 style, but for Gen 5, well, what I'm looking at right now is rather abominable. It looks like a video game cutscene from a Wii game. There's one specific shot of Zip and Zephyr Heights. It doesn't even look like it's finished. The leaves on Izzy's face look plastic, and our first shot makes her look like she hasn't slept in a week. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. It causes me pain at times. I think I have very mild kenophobia, meaning I don't like wide open or empty spaces. So looking at some of the backgrounds and seeing nothing there just makes me feel uncomfortable in my very soul. Now, there are explanations for this, namely the budget. Boulder Media is still involved, but Atomic Cartoons is the one credited in the, credits. I could be wrong, since I don't know much about how all this stuff works, so this is just ignorant speculation on my part. But I'm pretty sure they're unfamiliar with the rigs, which could explain some of the jankiness. But I'm willing to bet that over time, as they get used to animating the ponies, the movements will get more natural, and the faces will be a bit more expressive. And on the technical side of things, if they were to do the same caliber of animation, I assume it would take longer to render that level of detail, meaning production would be slower and more costly. So, yeah, there's understandable reasons for why the animation isn't the greatest. But when planning the next generation of a successful franchise that was highly praised for its distinctive and beautiful animation, I just have to wonder, why have your main series, the backbone of the franchise, be in subpar 3D when you could use a revamped version of G4's reliable 2D for the show and 3D for the specials? If I was a betting man, I'd say the decision was made by Hasbro execs and not the people who are on the production side of things. Pardon my rude dog in the background. Maybe 3D will help sell toys, as if kids and bronies alike didn't buy every single freaking toy that they churned out. I'm looking at you, little shy. And if you want to see something that could serve as an example of what potential updated G4 animation could look like, just look at Brutal Weather or even Minty Root stuff. I think Minty Root actually uses a mix of 2D and 3D. So, it's very stylized, and I get it's kind of an unfair comparison. But still, I can't help but look at it and wonder, if this is like one or maybe two people, I don't know if Minty Root's a team, I think it's just one person. But either way, if this is just like one person, imagine what a whole team could do. Okay, rant over. I actually want to talk about that little theme song that they had. Despite it being lame and generic corporate pop song, like the audio equivalent of corporate Memphis, I think it actually conveys a lot about the upcoming show, and the lyrics actually have some substance to them, which I can appreciate. One trick of songwriting is that the lyrics are supposed to convey an emotion or feeling just as much as, if not more, than any story. And the lyrics here definitely do that. The song feels like something cheerleaders would sing. It's like an anthem for the Sunny Squad. The line, "every pony everywhere," is like saying, hey, listen up every pony, this is our message. Meaning that the actual main five is going to try and reach out to people all over. And it addresses that Sunny's mission is to bring everyone together. Then there's some dumb fluff like, just glow and shine. But after that, there's make a mark that you can share. Hoof to heart, you know we care. Which is just, fantastic. I think it perfectly establishes exactly what the series is going to be about. And the fact that they worked in Sunny and Argyle's little line there is just so great. And finishing with "Let's All Unite" is a neat little bow to wrap it all up in. I think the 40-minute runtime was to the episode's detriment. I'm sure that they were going for the equivalent of the 2-part season openers and closers from Friendship is Magic, but the plot really couldn't support that kind of runtime and remain engaging. We didn't need a scene of Pip singing an unfinished song and then baking pastries. Some of the people on Pony were talking about how GM Barrow writes good slice of life stories but doesn't really do world building. You can kind of see that here, but Emma Larson did endorse her, so I have a little faith in her. He specifically mentioned that she's very good at remembering things that have happened in the show, as in doing her homework, which I think, continuity-wise and tying it to G4, is a very good thing. Now, there are some continuity errors, but they aren't too major. Some more so than others. They are something to be wary of if they don't get resolved or get more severe, but given the time skip and the amount of things that could have happened between Friendship is Magic and now, I think we should keep an open mind instead of saying G5 is doomed when we've only scratched the surface. It's easy to fret and say the world is destroyed and the legacy of Friendship is Magic is ruined, but we aren't even a season deep yet, so hold your ponies, guys. You can kind of see some world building, like how there's certain traditions, like the wreaths and a traditional Bay song. However, none of it's, well, actually cool, like rock farms or weather factories. Like in season 1 of Friendship is Magic, we had the running of the leaves, we had a winter wrap-up, and all that cool stuff that really showed that this is a unique fantasy world that can stand on its own. And none of that is here. It does feel like there's more there, or at least potential for more, but we just aren't seeing it. However, we are seeing the rebirth of a dead culture, so I feel like maybe it's intentional that they're trying to make it feel a little bit more grounded and closer to the real world, and over time, as Magic returns, we'll start seeing this new stuff. So I think it's just one more thing that we're gonna have to wait and see. But if it doesn't change, well, that's a damn shame. The director of A New Generation said he didn't decide a fate for the main six or a reason why the tribe split apart. Some think that was a bad idea, but considering he was only around for that film, I think leaving it for the people who are actually writing the series was a good decision on his part, because it leaves things to be explored by the show. If they're going to be the ones building the world and writing the show going forward for however long, I think leaving it to them means they aren't going to be held back by the ideas of someone else who's since left the franchise. Now, this is very much Zip's show, which I have mixed feelings about. If anyone other than Sunny was going to be the focus, personally I think it should have been Hitch. He was kind of an incompetent dolt with no real direction or purpose in this one, which really sucks mega balls. Some are saying he acts like the stereotypical gay best friend to a group of women, and I can't argue with that. He feels different, like he's weaker. I don't want to say they emasculated him, but he kind of had a bravado and easygoing confidence that feels missing. Sunny was actually kind of a dismissive jerk here. It could be seen as out of character, or it could mean Sunny is afraid because of how much responsibility has been put on her shoulders in such a short period of time.
I'm everywhere! I'm supposed to be the Alicorn defender of Pony Unity, and now I'm a joke.
And she's just not ready to face a new, disaster. They didn't really give her much screen time to actually explore that part of her, so that's also kind of disappointing. So the whole episode either follows Zip or Hitch on their own, or everyone at the Bright House doing nothing of any real importance. All the Bay Day preparations feel just dragged out and kind of pointless. Hitch's storyline feels a bit meandering and meaningless at the start, but it does go somewhere. But put together, it feels disjointed, and like a lot of the episode was just padding for time. It has its moments, though, mostly involving Zip's investigation and a little side plot with Queen Haven, or Hitch with his egg. I think it would have been a major improvement if they had blended those two storylines together. One of the best moments is when Zip and Hitch are together in the police station and they sort of play off each other. I think the episode would have been a lot better if they had been working together the whole time, trying to figure out what's happening. Plus, if we'd seen Zip working with Hitch, it would have made her becoming a detective all the more impactful given they're going to be working together. Just imagine those two in a buddy cop dynamic. It sounds freaking awesome. One interesting thing is that Zip's habit of just blowing people off and being on her lonesome is actually addressed in the Zip's Yes Day short. It is fitting of her character to act like that, but it doesn't make for a very interesting or engaging, at least, story. So it would have been nice to have seen that done sooner. I hope that over time, as the characters become better friends, we can look back on this and think, look how different they were back then. And that will give the episode more substance. The other interesting thing is actually seeing Maritime Bay Day itself. Considering how much build up and hype it's gotten, like a whole ass video game, we didn't really see much of the actual festival, which would have been a great opportunity for world building, by the way. But what we did see was alright. I think where the episode really struggles is in its pacing and the way that the cast is divided to either be on their own or in a group, doing nothing interesting. It would have been cool if after their little confrontation with Posey it skipped right to the festival. Sunny and the rest being occupied with actually running it would be a better explanation of why they don't notice the glitches, where in the actual episode they're just willfully ignorant dickheads. Making that change would leave the story pretty similar, but it would make Sunny, Izzy, and Pip's parts a bit more engaging. Hitch being tied up with his sheriffing duties would still offer the opportunity for Posey to come to him like she did, and all that anti-magic stuff could still happen. Plus, the festival setting would actually lend credence to her idea that people were pranking her, and it would make her a more compelling antagonist as a result. And not like she just hates magic for the sake of it being magic. Also, notice how the glitches happen when ponies aren't getting along, but most of the arguments are caused by glitches in the first place? Disputes over Maritime Bay Day festivities and the influence of unicorn and Pegasi cultures in it would be a much better reason for what would cause the glitches ipsies. And they could cause further strife, which would be a good explanation for why Maritime Bay Day, of all days, is the one where a portal to hell opens in town center. Suicide is painless. One piece of criticism I saw was that the crystals seemed to react to every little disagreement, meaning ponies would have to get along all the time for magic to ever work properly. Making Maritime Bay Day central to the plot and the source of unusually big conflicts would better explain why the crystals are so sensitive. I suspect the actual explanation, assuming we get one, is that the alicorn has done something to make them so sensitive in order to cause more chaos, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, there are some smaller details I noticed that do make me feel better. Notice how Maritime Bay, Bridalwood, and Zephyr Heights are all shown on the stained glass in the Bright House. I think one of the best things that the episode does is show that the three tribes haven't just magically started being friends. I like that pony strife causes the weather to turn bad. It's not the Wendigos, but it runs in a similar vein to them, meaning there could be a connection there. All the new characterization I mentioned in my last video is still there too, and it even gets somewhat expanded upon. Izzy broke the fourth wall. It's small and easy to miss. It might not have been intentional, but I'm choosing to believe it is. Plus, there's all the new questions that have been raised, meaning that there is a lot of potential there, although that potential needs to result in a satisfying answer eventually. There's one big thing that is niggling at me. I can't really think of anything else to say. It was just very, very meh. I've watched it 5 times, really analyzing scene by scene, and I just can't think of anything. I'm grasping at straws for what to say about the plot. It's just average. It doesn't excite me or provoke much thought. I wouldn't call it bad, but, well, I've seen better. Friendship is Magic's opener is definitely stronger. Or maybe it's just my bias speaking, and it's on the same level, but no. And it's definitely a step back from the movie, too. Still, I don't think this is going to be a brony fandom killer like some are saying it is. Hell, even if G5 is a flop, we still have 9 good seasons of Friendship is Magic. Star Trek has a strong fandom, even though they haven't had good content in ages, or so I hear. So, I don't think it's anything worth panicking over yet. Believe me, I want this to be good, and I actually liked it, but I can't deny it's painfully, woefully average on the pony scale, and that makes me sad. G4 succeeded, I feel, because it was in the hands of passionate artists who enjoyed what they were doing, and it showed in the cult following it garnered. But now, due to that success, I smell the reek of corporate influence and milking tendencies, which is far more ominous than anything else I've mentioned. That, however, is merely speculation. For a first introduction into the series, a mostly mediocre slice-of-life storyline isn't very good. I could go into far greater detail and do a full rewrite, and maybe I will if there's any demand, but for now, I'll just bide my time watching Tell Your Tale and waiting for the series to come out. Anyway, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you enjoy my other stuff as well. If you want more pony content, I have a rewrite of A New Generation for you, or an analysis on how Tell Your Tale expanded on the characters. So, yeah, I hope to see you next time. Bye. Thank you for all the views and such on the Tell Your Tale video. It really means a lot to me and is very encouraging.